Welcome to Pharmacy View, Technology and Pharmacy Business podcast series, where we provide regular interviews with pharmacists and key industry people within the Australian pharmacy and associated industry. In each podcast, we look to discuss aspects of pharmacy operation and how technology is improving or interacting with each guest's current role or pharmacy-related business. I'm your host, Scott Carpenter, and today's guest is sponsored by Shopfront Solutions, leading the way in digital marketing and communications, providing a cloud-based platform for pharmacies to manage all of their digital messaging and print-based collateral. For more information on the Shopfront Solutions digital platform, simply go to the website at shopfrontsolutions.com.au. My guest today is pharmacist and KAPS Coach Asad Mehmood. Welcome, Asad.
Thank you very much, Scott.
My pleasure, and it was great that you reached out to me. It's one of the things that I enjoy about the pharmacy industry is that we're interconnected. It doesn't matter where we are. I think we've worked out that while you're sitting up in Tamworth in New South Wales, which is a place near and dear to my heart, I'm sitting here in Melbourne in Victoria. But the reality is that we're both cold at the moment because it is quite cool in both locations.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, Asad, as I've done some research and we've been having some chats prior to this session today, you've got a bit of a diverse background in terms of emigrating to Australia. So I think it's important that we have an initial chat about who is Asad, where have you come from as a pharmacist, how did you get here, who helped you, who motivated you, and it's great that you're here because obviously Australia is a great place to live and to bring up a family and to work. So let's talk a bit about your background and where you've come from.
Thank you very much, Scott. First of all, thanks for having me here on your beautiful podcast. Thanks very much. Actually, my name is Asad Mehmood, as you have mentioned in the start. I'm basically from Pakistan. I did my Doctor of Pharmacy degree from University of Lahore, Pakistan. And then I came to Australia for my master's degree. So I have done my master's in Medicinal Chemistry from the University of Wollongong. And then after graduating from the university, I got a job at the University of New South Wales, the research chemist. I worked there for around 2.5 years. And then once I finished my uni there, I passed my KAPS exam. And then during that time, I got a job back in Pakistan as a university lecturer. So I used to teach medicinal chemistry at University of Central Punjab, Lahore. And then after spending 2.5 years over there, I got a job offer from Tamworth. So I came to Tamworth and I'm here working as a community pharmacist at the moment, as well as I'm also working with the Pharmacy Guild Australia on a very, very interesting project, which we're going to discuss a bit later. And also I'm working as a subject matter expert with an Australian Pharmacy Council, which I'm proud of. And as far as my journey is concerned, it's really ups and downs in my life. So I started my career in Australia, actually. After finishing my pharmacy, I came to Australia for my master's. And during my master's, I used to work as a cleaner. I used to clean different pharmacies. I used to clean different offices and different clubs. And this is the real motivation for me, actually. And then during that time, people told me odd things as well, but I was very focused and I was motivated, and I met many Australian people who really motivated me during my journey. I remember I was working with a manager where I was doing cleaning, actually. That manager supported me a lot, so that was a real motivation. My father, who really worked hard, he was my motivation, and all of these people in my life, my family, my friends, to whom I work with, to whom I live with, they are the real motivations for me, actually. And because of them, I was motivated. And you know what, during this journey, the most important part, I learned how to self-motivate as well. So if you don't know how to self-motivate, you won't be able to reach some point, So I know how to self-motivate. And these are the simple points which I kept in my mind. And then that's why
And that's a really good story. I'm not sure if you heard the news about the latest census data that's out. Australia is a big melting pot of cultures. And it's one of the things that I like about being here. I probably go back a little bit further in terms of my ancestors were Scottish, Irish, French, German, real European mix of people, immigrants coming into Australia a long, long time ago. But there's a lot of discussion around who the true Australians are. But the reality is that Australia is a melting pot of culture, different cultures from around the world.
Oh, absolutely.
And I look forward to whatever years I have left in my life just to see how this continues to grow and develop in terms of this association. So it's great to have you here. I'm sure I can speak on behalf of the pharmacy industry that is really stretched at the moment, and I'm sure you are as well in terms of vaccinations and RAT tests and consults, and that's all on top of the normal day-to-day dispensing that you really appreciated being here. And I guess that's a nice segue then into what we wanted to talk to you about today, and that is the work that you do with the Pharmacy Guild and the KAPS coaching, which is actually then about helping other pharmacists come into Australia, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. through these different platforms, helping overseas pharmacists as well to how can they pass the KAPS exam and how can they immigrate to Australia and help the Australian health professionals here, because at the moment there is a serious shortage going on for the pharmacists. So really I'm using all of these platforms to help the overseas pharmacists to come here, because 84% of the adults, Australian adults, they trust advice of the pharmacists. This is a huge number, to be honest, and that's why I'm trying our Australian community as well by bringing more pharmacists internationally to come to Australia and work and play their role, as well as you get settled here in this beautiful cultural country, and also helping the local community here.
Sure.
Yep.
So obviously, again, whilst we're a technology-based podcast, we're focused around the pharmacy industry. Could we talk a bit about the journey of a pharmacist? You've spoken about your journey, but if a pharmacist from overseas now was looking to come to Australia, how do they connect with you? Obviously through social media, but what's the steps? So someone might have a referral, someone might be interested, someone might Google search, and they end up with your portal. So take us a bit through the journey about what happens when someone contacts you.
Yeah, so basically I will start from the this business actually. So before that, what was happening, there was no one who can guide the overseas pharmacists. So how can they come to Australia? And a lot of people in overseas pharmacists, overseas, they were very confused and they have no one to talk about. Everything was over the website, but it's very hard to understand how can they actually arrive in Australia and start working as a pharmacist. So basically I took that step, and as soon as I passed my KAPS exam, I have to struggle a lot. Actually, I have to ask many people and I have to call them, I have to meet them in person. Just please help me that. How can I pass the KAPS exam? What are the different steps of passing the exam, and what are the different steps to immigrate to Australia so that I can work there? So that journey was quite hectic for me, and I thought at that point, one day when I'll pass the exam and one day I'll be a registered pharmacist, I will help overseas pharmacists to make their journey a bit easier than me actually. So what I did after passing the KAPS exam and after I arrived in Australia, even I make a Facebook page. That was a starting point, and many people they demotivated me and they said this doesn't work and nobody helps each other. Don't worry about it. Everyone have access to the website. Everyone can just go online and check the Pharmacy Council website and they can pass the exam and all that. Don't worry about it. But the thing is, this is my belief, because my history is I'm a teacher. I was a teacher in a university, so I knew that majority of the people, more than 80% of the people, they don't always follow the simple website. They want someone who can just train them. They want someone who can just teach them straight away. Especially if in our background, we need someone who can just have an eye on us, who can just check on us, who can just teach us and train us. So I knew that this is a gap here and we have to fill this gap. So I make a Facebook page. That was my starting point. And then I know that the first 100 followers were the most difficult one. The people have no trust on you and all that. And then gradually and slowly, right now I have got 15,000 followers, 15,000 overseas pharmacist followers at that Facebook page, and now I'm helping, and I have got 2 more team members with me who are helping with me, and we are trying to help the overseas pharmacists and try to answer their queries. Even those answers are on the website, but the people, they are a bit lazy and they want you to answer them straight away so that there's no doubt in that. So we help people with the material, we help people with the coaching classes, and we help with the kind of a lot of pharmacists, especially overseas pharmacists. They came to me and they asked what are the practices in Australia as a pharmacist so that we can adopt those practices in our country. So in the start of this year, I was visiting Pakistan and I went to 3 or 4 different top ranked universities of Pakistan, and I give them speeches over there, talk about the pharmacy practice, what they can do to make their pharmacy career or pharmacy profession more good and more trustable. So this is the whole journey. So started from the Facebook page, and then afterwards I made a website, and then afterwards gradually I registered my company. So people are contacting me through websites, through emails, through Facebook page, through my word of mouth, through my past students who passed with me, who I taught them and they passed the exam. Now they are spreading my name and number everywhere. So the people contacting me all the time, and thanks to God, I'm very busy at the moment just because of more influx of the people who just want me to assist them in this journey. I'm very satisfied that I can help them. Anyways.
Yeah. And look, that's again another really good, I guess, part of your journey. 15,000 Facebook followers. That's a great number, and again, it's a test of the work that you're doing. My questioning there is around. I obviously haven't been involved in the KAPS exam, but I understand what it is. And it's all, I guess, about the detail and the regulations and the standards and the practices. Question to you is that I dare say a lot of the questions that you will get from people interested in coming to Australia is also about the Australian culture, the Australian living standards, how you get a house, where do you live, all of that kind of thing as well. It's not just about the KAPS exam, is it?
Absolutely, absolutely. And especially after passing the KAPS exam, people contact me and they ask, like, we are looking for a job now, because after passing the KAPS exam, the only way to come to Australia is to find a job, because once they find a job, they will find a sponsor, and that sponsor will sponsor them for a visa, and then they can come here. So many people contacted me for that, and luckily, like, I have different employees who contacted me just because of that, and they asked me, like, if I can help them with the intern pharmacist. And there's the big company here in Australia who made an MOU with me, and different recruiting companies. I don't want to mention names here, but they have an MOU with me. So I referred them an intern pharmacist like that. And of course, like, the people like who have different backgrounds, like who are from the Asian countries or from the European countries, they ask me about the culture. They ask me about the salary packages. They ask me about what websites we can go, and then we can find different accommodation and all that. So I help them as well. I've got one more team member like who's helping me within that. So really, not only KAPS actually. So it's a overall view about Australia, overall view about the pharmacy practice, and overall view about the pharmacist future as a career here. So yeah, of course, it's not all about KAPS only.
No,
absolutely.
I'm sure. And whilst to a point, I understand that you've come from what would be part of the Asian continent. Is that where the predominant part of your contact comes from, or do you actually get a wider audience across through Europe and America as well?
Yeah, so a majority of the people who contacted me are from Asian countries, of course, and then few of them are few people contact me from South Africa, Philippines, and Canada as well. Few people from Canada as well, and I have seen many people contacting me from UK, but they don't have to appear in the KAPS exam. They have a different exam, so I just guide them. Okay, you don't appearing the KAPS, you have to give the different exam. But of course, mostly from the UAE as well. So all these people from these continents, they contact me all the time to help them with the KAPS and all that.
Yeah, that's a good, I guess, point of reinforcement, because all of this contact, all of these discussions, these are all happening through technology platforms, which ultimately, how does this impact the Australian pharmacy industry? Well, it's about, particularly at the moment, helping to get more overseas pharmacists coming into Australia. And to do that, it's about the introduction, it's about answering the inquiries, it's about, and not just the inquiries about the KAPS exam, but it's the inquiries about how do I go about finding a job? And the easiest way for you to refer that is to most pharmacy recruiters have got online portals in their own right. So it's fairly easy to kind of refer them through that as well. Absolutely. You mentioned something earlier on, and I know this to be quite a challenge, is that people are very wary about emails and contact that you get through these days from particularly overseas email addresses or unknown or uncommon email addresses. So do you provide like a vetting service on that basis in terms of referring people on?
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, let's start with the contacting the people, So I'm very clear in that. Right now, if I, you name it, for example, Facebook. Facebook is the first starting point of the research now. Before it was Google, now it's a Facebook. So first of all, what people do is, if they want to research about the KAPS, they go on Google and write it down. They go on the Facebook and search KAPS pages, KAPS Coach, KAPS Helping Coaching Institutes, KAPS Training Center, and all that. So that's why I started my journey with the KAPS thing, first of all. So this is the basic technology. This is simple. People use Facebook for layer purposes, but I used Facebook for the help people and do business. So this is one thing. Second thing is just because of that, just because the number of people who joined that page organically, I've been contacted from different recruiters to refer them different pharmacies, because as you know that there's a serious shortage going on at the moment. So the people contacted me because I have got influx of the overseas pharmacists. They want me to refer them a pharmacist, and of course I have to interview them first. So I use Zoom and meeting and all these kind of technologies. First of all, I try to interview them, first interview and second interview, and then when I feel confident about the candidate, I refer that candidate to the recruiters and different companies. So what will happen is their time is saved now, So as far as my part is concerned, so I'm helping the people to get into the job. And as far as the employees concerned, it's they're saving their time and they're saving their money as well. So because many recruiters here, they're charging a hell amount of money. So through my way, it's very easy to get the pharmacist at the moment. So that's why I use these basic technology which people use for layer, but also for the basic research purposes.
Yeah. So on that note, and again, we've got quite a wide audience both in Australia and overseas, but if we talk about the Australian side of things, because this is where the jobs are effectively that people are interested in, if a pharmacist or a pharmacy owner was listening to this podcast today and said, look, this is really good, I'd be interested in bringing in a pharmacist from overseas, what's their next step?
That's an excellent question. And the same topic was discussed in the last meeting with the Guild Australia, actually. So I am working with Guild at the moment. And what we are doing is like we are making Australia's first Australian pharmacy course with regards to the overseas pharmacies. And I'm writing that course with my other colleague as well. So we are two people writing that course. So what would that course be? That course will teach the overseas pharmacy the basics of the Australian laws, the basics of the Australian pharmacy practices. So before, what was happening, owners are not comfortable hiring the overseas pharmacists. The problem was the overseas pharmacists have not basic knowledge. They don't have any knowledge about the basic pharmacy practice, basic laws, and basic over-the-counter treatments, how the pharmacy culture works here, how the pharmacy workforce works effectively. So that's why they are quite resistant. They don't want to hire the overseas pharmacists, because if they hire them, they have to pay them money, first of all, and then they have to train them for like 3 or 4 years. Yeah. And then, they have to spend a lot of money. And then as soon as they pass the KAPS exam, they go away. So that's why the owners were more focused on hiring the local pharmacists. So what we are doing is like we are making a course now, and that course will help the overseas pharmacy to have a basic knowledge so that owners are comfortable in hiring them, and they don't have to spend extra money and extra time within the pharmacy to train them.
Yes.
This is one thing. Okay, second thing, if the owners want to hire the overseas pharmacist, what should they do? So we are making a portal as well with the guild, and that portal will connect the overseas pharmacist with the employers.
Okay.
So with the employers, so that would be the best strategy. And third thing is like lots of owners, they are contacting me straight away. As I told you, they are the biggest retail chain in Australia. They are working with me at the moment, and I'm helping them. Just they contact me. They say like, Asad, we need 2 intern pharmacists. Can you help us? Okay, all right. So I put an ad on my Facebook page and the website as well. I market them, and I got lots and lots of CVs. And then after looking at the CV, I choose 2 or 3 or 4, interview them, and then transfer one CV, send one CV to the head office, and then they process that application after they're taking 1 or 2 more interviews. So this is the whole thing. This is very simple, actually. You can email me, you can just WhatsApp me, you can just contact me through my Facebook page. So I'll be there to help.
I've been around pharmacy for a few years now. I've recruited, I've helped train, I've helped manage pharmacy. So from that perspective is that, yes, bringing a pharmacist on board, whether it's someone from overseas or whether it's actually recruiting someone out of college, there is an innate risk that you may lose that person. But therein lies what I think is a great challenge, and that is that if you've got a great culture, if you've actually got great opportunities for employees, then they're not going to want to leave. It shouldn't be about, I'm not going to invest because I'm going to lose that person. It should be more about, I'm going to invest because actually I want to keep that person. And the discussion should be constantly about, what do I need to do as a business owner to make sure that this person that I'm investing in actually wants to stay and becomes part of my team longer term. And I know that there are horror stories out there of people that have invested and brought team members on board only to lose them. From my experience, that comes back down to, was it the right recruitment in the first place? And have you done everything you can to actually train and develop that person such that they don't want to leave ultimately? And I know that they're broad statements, but I think that they're the minimum side of things. I think there's a lot of success stories out there where pharmacy business owners have kept pharmacists as part of the team longer term.
Absolutely, you're spot on, actually. And this is just all about addressing the expectations from the overseas pharmacists. So if you are hiring stuff from the overseas pharmacists without keeping in mind their background. Okay, let's talk about this thing first. So let's talk about the Pakistan. So what's happening in the Pakistan in the retail culture? How the retail pharmacy works? So the pharmacist literally has to do nothing in the retail pharmacy in Pakistan, in India, and in any other country. What they do is just like they sit in the beautiful fancy offices, do nothing, and they're expecting the same thing while coming to Australia. So they're expecting. So this is the thing. You have to tell them straight away, look, this is an Australian pharmacy practice. You have to work like a robot. There will be a lot of pressure, a lot of stress. If you're happy, we can go forward. Otherwise, bye-bye. So this is the thing. You have to be very much clear. And of course, if you tell them truthfully, if you clarify the situation, of course, they will be happy, to stay. This is one thing. Second thing is that because you are sponsoring them, if you're sponsoring them on a 407 visa, and then afterwards, if you're sponsoring them on a 494 visa, so they have to work with you for 4 years anyways. So if they go away, their visa will be cancelled. So this is one thing. On the other hand, if you want to make a good relationship with the overseas pharmacist, then you have to make a good bond, with professional bond and good friendship friendship bond so that they can stay with you. You have to give them a good environment as well, keeping in mind their background and their culture and all that. So if you're doing that, I think like no owners will lose the pharmacist.
You have raised a really good point. I was, up until this point in time, had only been looking at one side of the equation, but the reality is that there are a lot of really good pharmacists and pharmacy owners in Australia that are great coaches and great developers of people. And
100%.
so ultimately there's probably another coaching side of this, and that is that for the Australian pharmacist, which could have come from multiple backgrounds, not just English speaking themselves, the onus is also on you to coach and sponsor this person into Australia, not just have this expectation that when they get there on day one that they can actually dispense and I can pick up the kids from school. This is an investment longer term, not just for today, but for the longer term, isn't it?
Absolutely, 100%. I agree with you. And of course, like I was sponsored as well. If I take my case, I have many friends who got sponsored from my country, and they're very happy just because the owners are giving them their space. They're respecting their culture, they're respecting their professional and ethical values. So that's why they are with them. It's been like 4 or 5 years now they're working with them. So if you give them a good, healthy environment, working environment, of course, like they're going to stay with you. If to give them, look, who is coming to Australia? First of all, this is one question. Why people want to come to Australia? There are two reasons. Number one, good lifestyle. The good lifestyle comes from the good money. If you pay them good money, they will not go anywhere. Number one. Number two, if to give them a respect, professional respect. These two things, if you can invest on these two things, on the Overseas Pharmacists, they will never ever lose you. They are the most loyal people you have ever seen if you give these two things to them. So I think like this is the solution of the problem. So if you can do that, why not? They will stay with you.
As you and I can both now attest, there's some great places to live in Australia outside of the cities. So some of the regional towns and communities are just magnificent places to raise a family.
Absolutely. Because I used to live in Wollongong. I lived there for 2.5 years. Then I lived in Sydney for 2.5 years. I worked in the CBD and I work in a small country. Right now I'm in Tamworth, which is a very, very small regional town. But I love it. It's a quiet, peaceful. In 2 minutes you can reach anywhere and you have got all the facilities. The problem is like most of the overseas pharmacists, they have no idea at all. When they heard the word regional area, the rural area, they got scared because they think that the rural areas or regional areas in Australia are exactly the same as their countries, where there is no hospitals, there is no shopping malls and all that. But the thing is like most of the regional areas and rural areas in Australia, they have got all the basic facilities. They've got parks here, health facilities, leisure activities, and festivals going on all the time here. So I think we have to aware them actually, and that's the module, and that's the content we are adding in Overseas Pharmacist course as well, so that people can expect a good thing and they encouraged to go to the regional areas instead of going to the big cities. Because if you talk about the CBDs or the metropolitan cities, they are expensive. Expensive accommodation, expensive car radios, everything is expensive, traffic, waste of time and all that. So after like working 8-10 hours as a pharmacist, and then you got stuck in 2 hours traffic. So this is one thing which we have to educate the people. And I think because of a lack of information, this is one thing people don't want to come to the regional area. So we have to educate them. We have to aware them what are the benefits and what are the negative points of that. So of course the positive points are more than the negative points.
And the good news today is that with the wonders of technology, anywhere in the world can go in and Google search Tamworth, discover that they do have great parks, they do have great schools, they do have great hospitals, and most importantly, I was going to ask you this, is that they have a great music genre. So have you become a fan of country music?
Absolutely.
You've got the boots and the hat, have you?
Yeah. During the country music festival, yes.
So we're coming to the end of our time, and I did say to you that you'll be surprised how quickly this time will go, and it's been a great chat. But before we finish up, was there any points on your list that we haven't covered off? Anything else that you wanted to kind of wrap up with?
Yeah, so probably I just want to encourage the overseas pharmacists to just make you move to Australia, because this is the best place to work and to pursue your career as a pharmacist. And I think, give my example, so I started my journey as a student here, and then I worked at different places. I did odd jobs as well, and I used to be security guard in the same pharmacy where I'm working as a pharmacist at the moment. So if you can motivate yourself, if you're determined, if you're persistent with your hard work, so there is no point you can lose. And of course, even like if you're working in your country and if you want something in life, you better quality of life, then you can just move to Australia. This is the best place to live in. What you need to do is you have to just what's the procedure? Let me explain the procedure first, because you have a huge audience. So I can just summarize what's the basic procedure for the pharmacist. So what you can do is just like go to the Australian Pharmacy Council website, make your candidate portal there, upload all your documents, apply for the eligibility assessment. Number one step. Number two step is to pass the KAPS exam. You can sit in the KAPS exam like anywhere in the world. Once you pass the KAPS exam, you have to look for the internship role. Once you find the internship role, come here, live 1 year on a 407 visa, 3 years on a 494 visa, and then you will be eligible for the permanent residency. You can start your career as a community pharmacist here. You have to. Once you finish your community pharmacy, then you can work in a hospital, you can work in industries, you can work in guild, as I'm working here, there, so you can work in Australian Pharmacy Council, anywhere. You can change your career path if you want to. Otherwise, like if you want to make good money, to be honest, community pharmacy is the best place to work.
From that perspective. No, look, that's really good. And certainly, in wrapping this up, for any prospective pharmacists looking to come from overseas, there's some very good podcasts here in Australia, including this one that you can go back and listen to some of the previous episodes, particularly with pharmacists talking about their journey and their experience. And I look forward to staying in touch. Asad, thank you very much for your time today. It's actually been a really good chat. I've really enjoyed this. I will make sure that I find your Facebook page and stay in touch. And if there's a chance for us to kind of catch up again in a couple of months' time and have another chat, I'd love to do that. Thanks for your time today.
Thanks very much, Scott. Keep rocking.
Thank you for listening today. Pharmacy View is a technology-focused podcast provided by Melbourne-based business Arian Technologies and Shopfront Solutions. Over the podcast series, our guests include pharmacists, retail managers, wholesalers, suppliers, and industry technology partners. If you would like further information on our podcast series or to participate in one of our episodes, feel free to send me a message or touch base through the Pharmacy View website, pharmacyview.com.au.